Hey, welcome back to MVP Hot Wheels. This is Diesel Mac, and I was kind of going through and playing around with the website today, and figured I'd go ahead and show you guys one of the cool things I like to use on the website. I've kind of done this in part with some other videos I've made, but I figured why not go ahead and do one solely on searching some stuff. So here's the website. Before we begin, go ahead and hit that like button and the subscribe button there on for YouTube. Get the channel information out there. And then come on over here to the website, mvphotwheels.com. And you could join us on the tour. You could subscribe. It's only $5 a month to subscribe. And I'll show you what that gets you in the back of this video. I don't have my face down in the bottom right hand corner. My radio face is hidden. Actually, I figured it'd just be easier to show you guys everything on the screen instead of having my face cloud the space anyway. So here we go. So in the locator, I've created this filtering system. So right off the bat, we'll go right into loose car. You see there's 6,389 different car variations available in here. All the way back to, I do have placeholders for all of the early Spectraflame red lines. So that's really what all this is. So anything that you see in here, like this one here, I mean, it's fairly accurate, so you could add this, but I don't have a whole lot of colors. So you can see there's only three Spectraflames. Beating It Bandits before you get into the 90s remake of it. But anyhow, like I said, 6,389 different things to play with and view, adding more on a daily basis. I think I added 5 or 6 last night or yesterday and got pictures and everything updated. It takes a little while to get all this stuff in and put descriptions and all that kind of stuff. But what I was doing today was kind of going through here in the wheel type. We'll do the hot ones first, and then you can see all the cars with hot ones wheels. You can see I don't have too many pictures of some of these early ones. That was probably not the best one to pick. But here's the P911, and you can see we've got several different variations of that with it. And then you could go back into the wheel filter and do hub color, and we could choose chrome, which is a little bit more rare. I don't say rarer, but they didn't make very many of them, so 33 of those with chrome hot ones. So we got that 57 Chevy, missing a turquoise one. Obviously, that comes in the international window box. Super rare. Would love to add that sometime. The Hot Bird there with chrome hot ones, kind of a tougher one there as well. Hair Splitter there. We've got the Mercedes, couple different ones with the chrome hot ones. And then kind of a newer one. This is the newer version of a Hot Ones wheels, but that's chrome Hot Ones on it, of course. This one is chrome for the blown Camaro Z28, a couple different variations of that. And then Solaire. So anyways, I was coming in here and you get to see the same wheel. I thought was pretty cool. Something that this website does, my website does, that the others you really can't do. You can't come in here and go to their website and look at all the cars that have chrome hot ones, for instance, right? Some of the other things I was looking at, like if you wanted to do, we'll do the Real Riders. That will pick up every single Real Rider, by the way. And then go into, say, like White Hub. So come in here, hub color white. You can see there's 58 of them. And now I thought that was pretty cool, right? You can see all the different white hub variations that were available, and most of these are going to be your OG Real Riders here. There probably won't be too many new ones that come out with the white hubs just because of the way they do them. Normally they're a chrome wheel, but obviously I'm missing some of them. But just a cool way to kind of look at your collection. If you've subscribed, you can start putting these into your collection by clicking these buttons, or if you need to upgrade it, or if you don't have it, you can click the wanted, but it'll create a list for you guys that's shareable as well. But pretty sweet way to go through and use this on the website if you're looking or just want to see cars kind of collectively together. You could take that off, right? So remove the white You can see here we're going to have some other stuff all be added back in. So here's some gray hub. You can go back into that, choose the gray hub one. Again, kind of an older one, 126 different variations so far. And this is where you start to get some of the newer 5 lug real riders, the OG ones here, some of the later ones in the 90s, early 90s, late 90s, or late 80s. Some OG stuff here. So pretty cool kind of see all that together. I don't have a way to break out the different types of gray real riders yet because I don't have a spot designate them what type of real riders they are. But maybe that'll be something we can add in the future. And then you could do the same thing with your window color. So let's put like pink tinted. There's 25 of those. So if you got your Hotbird, some 3 window 34s, a bunch of those. Your Porsche 930 here, a couple variations, split an image. So pretty cool just to see some different, everything that kind of has uh, different type of window types. And then the other thing we could look at is like interior. If you're a fan of, I don't know, let's do the transparent one. That's kind of crazy, right? So some Leos, the window and the interior are usually the same pieces on these cars. So you've got transparent interior on that. So a bunch of those Monzas have that. You got the Corvette Stingray, again, another piece I think is together. Window and interior one piece. Same thing, 57 Chevy. 57 T-Bird may be that way. So there's a bunch of different cars that where they kind of go together. I think this one is the same as also, if I remember looking in there. So you got your dump truck, lots of different variations of that, and your phone truck. So not a whole lot there, but pretty cool just to kind of break up and see like, all right, here's all the cars, 39 different ones that are available, with that type of interior. You can do the same thing with the base filter here. So base material, base colors. So let's pick something kind of crazy. So red bases, there's 153. That's kind of shocking. I didn't expect there to be that many. Some pretty cool stuff here. You can see we've got Ferrari 308s, 55 Chevy. So even the dark red or maroon falls in that red category. So just some different way to look at all of your cars and try to find, ways that you could kind of put them together. With that, a lot of them seem to have red bodies as well. Old number 5 here, Corvette red on red, so BMW red on red. So pretty cool stuff, and then some stuff you didn't probably even know about that had a red base potentially. So, but I figured that was pretty cool just to kind of come in here and look at different types um, of the pieces that are available on there between the interior, the window color, base color, and wheels and all that kind of stuff. So, but that's one thing, like I said, that's available here on the MVP Hot Wheels website that you won't necessarily find on a lot of these other websites that you could break it down. You could do it by, base country. So here's all the different countries so far. You could look at, if you're looking at just ones with France or just ones with Mexico, Hong Kong, 1,200 of those, pretty crazy. Malaysia, 3,819. So obviously the majority of what I've put in so far. I don't really have a non. I was gonna go in and probably put like non. I gotta update these two to make these look these be the same. Um, I need to put one that says like no country in here because there's a bunch of cars that don't have a country as well, and so that would be helpful to be able to search that way. Of course, you could always use all the other attributes to do it. The series search, if you start typing anything in, so if you want to look at real riders, let's see if that'll come up here. There we go, like Real Riders Series and Real Riders Series 14. There's a couple different things I put in. So that's the 1990s uh, Real Rider set. Actually, this one isn't part of that. It's part of a like a FAO Sports thing, so I gotta go in change that. Let me I'll just open that separately to remind myself. Um, but if you come in here and just put in the Real Riders, I think that's what shows up the other ones. Maybe I'll go in and change it to like OG Real Riders or something. So here you go. So all of these should only be OG Real Riders um, in here. If you're looking at like any of the other potential series, especially from the 80s, um, you could put in. I got most of the high raker stuff set up, so let's see how that does. Yeah, so 3 window 34s have high rakers. Should only be the vehicles that have high rakers on it. Some stuff I think was available with a high raker, but not in a high raker designated package. That would be on here too, just because you probably want to see all the cars that came with it. Once I get all the package stuff, then and put on here, then you'll be able to see which designated packages have the high rakers part, which cars come on those. But in this case, a lot of them, that I've found were loose, and I don't know exactly what package they came from, so I just have them in that series. For now, just kind of put them together. It's not necessarily its own series or nothing like that. So, but pretty cool way to use it. Like I said, if you subscribe for $5, you get to use these. These will pop up. They're available on your phone view as well. It's just a little more condensed. That's why I made these smaller descriptions for them, so that when you look on your phone, this description doesn't take up a whole lot of space. Nobody wants to read a bunch of crap as they're trying to find cars. And then when you click on these, like there'll be a bigger, there's more information for it. So you got all the information about all the stuff on the car. You've got details here, tells you the scale, the original name, the current name, make and model of if they exist or relevant. My unique MVP number, which is just the year on the base that's on there. Some people were giving me some flack about like that car didn't come out in 1979. Well, this is only a number that says that's what's on the base. And if it came out on first with that number or that year, and I know some cars change years down the road, the original year is what I go with, so that they're all together. So all the 1979 cars, right? We'll start with 1979, or all cars that had 1979 on the base. This one, since this is the 3-window 34, right? The number 3 is going to be before letters, right? This is the first one with a 1979 base that is available for that year. And then this back here is the designation of the variation for that casting. So this is the casting. This tells you, in this case, that it's all 3-window 34s are 1979-001. And then this 0102 is the first major variation and the second minor variation available for it. So that's all those numbers are. That way they stay together. Somebody was like, but this car doesn't come out in 1979 or whatever. I know. This isn't a number to tell you what year it came out. It just tells you what number was on the base at some point. Case in point, Corgi doesn't have any years on the base, right? So their numbers start off, or their MVP unique number starts off with CORG instead of a year. So all Corgis have a CORG and then a casting number in alphabetical order, and then all their major minor variations. So it's just a way for me to keep track of it when I'm putting stuff in. They're all designated and they all kind of go together. And that's what keeps all this kind of together, right? So when you put in this 3-window 34, what's going to display is everything that obviously has that name. And then when you come in here to the links, this castings is going to be 1979-001. Anything with that number in there is going to come up for the casting. Anything with the variations is going to be a step further. It's going to be the 1979 001-01, and that will bring out all of these red ones. So if I click on this, you'll see here these are all red, right? That's the major variation. If we go back in here, go back to links and click on castings, that is all of the three Windows 34s that I put in here, right? So that's how it keeps together. That's why I use those just as a reference point. That's why it takes a little while to get some of the information in there, because I have to do research for that particular year, so I don't have to rewrite all of these numbers in here for the casting for that particular year. So like right now I'm working on 1998. I try to go look and find every car that might have a 1998 base, put that in alphabetical order, and then start putting them in. So that way I don't just trying to guess. So if I choose like the Dodge Caravan, that was a 1998 first edition, right? And it might not have had a 98 base, but just as an example, right? And I put it as say number 4, right? And it turns out that it's number 8. Then I have to go back and change all of the cars that I put in with number 4 and make it number 8. And it's in a couple different places. It's in my overall name, so that I could find it easily for the title of the car and the development part or admin portion of it, and then it also obviously down below it that has this number that is displayed here with it has to be changed. So just extra work. So that's why I do all that ahead of time and try to put all that together. Sometimes it's not perfect, and then I find out that you know some car in a 4-car box or something like that, window box, also surprisingly has a 1998 base, and I have to go move some stuff. And I've had to do that a bunch of times. It's kind of annoying. So I try to do my diligence on preventing myself to have to be able to do that. And then I have them all written down too, or not written down. I have them on a Excel spreadsheet that tells me here's all of the names that have that year on the base, right, in alphabetical order, so that I can go in and start updating that first, and then start building the website part of it next. So that's kind of how it works. But that's what the numbers are for. So here you can see all of the different 3 Windows 34s. If we go into one that's in part of a series, so like this California Custom, if you come in here, you'll see it's California Customs for the series. And if you come in here links, you also have a link to go see all of the California Customs. So that was the easiest way to kind of go through and put everything with the series stuff together, so that you could see it instead of having a home page. So if we reset this and then putting thousands of different series, I won't say thousands, but there's at least over 100, right, of different series, especially once we get into all the 2000 and newer stuff, right? You're gonna have hundreds of different series names, especially all the, oh my gosh, that's gonna be crazy. Anyways, but instead of having all that crazy kind of information sitting here, I mean, I'm going to change this eventually to have some information to drill down different ways, but I don't want this to be cluttered with all that, because then also it's going to be available on your phone, and then how's that going to look on your phone? You're going to have you're going to be trying, it's pain in the ass to find. So that's just the easiest way. So if you're looking for something, the series search works out pretty well. So, we want to look at like, what else is there? It's part of a series that would be in there still, or not still, but like pavement pounders. I got 2 of these. I gotta kind of get these together. Go ahead. Right. So here's the 2 cars and pavement pounders that have with DS. So you'll be able to see all the cars that were part of the pavement pounder series, and I'll get all the trucks in there eventually as well. But yeah, there's just, I figured that was easier than having this huge list, right? If we go somewhere else, let's go to, oh man, where's the old one? Do I still have yeah, this is what South Texas Diecast used to look like, so it's kind of been updated, right? You could have this, right, and all of this craziness with all the names. I could break that down like this a little bit, give you that. Series, right, here's all the series, right? I mean, look at all that information. Like, yeah, it's all good, but if you already know what series you want to look at, right, you can come over here, click on the series, put it in, and go. Right, let's go some of the older stuff here. Let's see if they got older stuff. This would be older. Parking plates, perfect. Right, so parking plates. right there. Oop, I picked the wrong one. Let's pick that one. Um, Here's all the parking plates. And eventually I'll get all the different actual plates because there's different colors um, of the plates as well. So I'll get all that kind of information in there. But there's all the parking plates. So it's pretty easy to go that route than it is to add up every single one of those like that is done here. Just makes it easier. This gives you something to look at. We'll get to this and we'll have stuff like this, pages for this as well. It'll be kind of probably drilled down separately, so it'll have a treasure hunts, and then if you click on that, it'll go to all of this page instead of having all of it like this, and then all first editions, mainline, all that. So we'll have it'll just be broken up so that there's less information, easier to find it um, on the pages, and then it kind of drills down. But I think that doing it this way um, is a little bit easier if you already know what you're looking for. If you're just kind of guessing, right, and you have a car, right, if you have a vehicle that you're not sure what series it was in, right, so I've got this crack up right here, so I know it has a Malaysia base, so Malaysia doesn't narrow it down too much, right, that's 3,819 of those. Um, we've got wheel type basic wheels, so we're down to 937. We have color red. It's maroon, but red falls into that. We're down to 166. It has a gray window. Now we're down to 2. Right? Probably could have gone that. So here and here it is. Smashmobile is the one I'm holding in my hand. Right? I was able to get to it, and now I know if I click on this and want to see information, it's part of the crack up series. And if I want to see all the crack ups, click on the link and here's all the crack ups. If I wanted to see all of the cars for that, right? So castings, here's just that particular casting and all the variations found so far. Quite a few of them on this one. Um, to me, that was the easiest way to kind of get all the information linked, but only have to put the information for each car really one time. And the other thing I'll say is that I don't have is you don't see any ad space. I've not sold my soul to make money off of ads. In the future, if we have ads, one, they'll only be on this front page, or maybe even a separate page just for ads, but they will be ads that are some sort of relevant to Hot Wheels, right? So if somebody is just selling display cases, if they're selling Protectos, and they want to buy some ad space, it will be specifically for stuff like that. They'll have to contact me. It won't be changeable. I'll put up, I'll have some type of deal where, for a month you could put up in this particular ad space, or maybe I auction them off. I don't know. I feel like auctioning is kind of the easiest way to do it. That way, if you really want the top right spot for whatever reason, you could get it. But it would just be Hot Wheels stuff. If it's not Hot Wheels, you forfeit basically your payment for the space, and then obviously that'll probably deter them from putting some other stuff up there, and whatnot. So we keep it 100% Hot Wheels related, but I won't have any just random, Big Brother ad space that's going to come up here because you talked about socks in some conversation with your brother, and all of a sudden, wool socks are up on the ads. Like, we're not going to have any of that crap. Sure, I could make some money off of that and use that money to potentially update the website, but that's not a good user experience for you guys, and I don't want to do that. I'd rather you guys have the fun, useful, Hot Wheels website with all that, without all that crap on there. I got people. Obviously, I don't play Warcraft anymore, World of Warcraft anymore, but I do play Diablo, and my thing's on. It keeps popping up here. Um, so, um, yeah, so that's kind of the reason why I do all this other stuff. That's what the focus on this. Again, we get to down the road and we can afford it. We will get the auction house going. It will be strictly Hot Wheels. I'm hoping that you'll be able to come into this locator, search the car that you're looking for. So I've been putting 57 Chevys in, so we'll just go to that. And, we'll say, you have a I don't know. I'm just kind of playing around right now, but we'll do wheel type 5 spoke. It's only 36, and you narrow the car down, and say you have this one. So you have this from the steel stamp series. You've verified that's what it is, right? Then down here, you'll be able to add car to auction, and it would give you all. It would put all that information in automatically for you and connect it to the MVP number, and then that way, if somebody has added this to their collection, or they're wanted, if this number shows up on the auction house, it would alert you that a car that you are specifically looking for with the black interior and tinted window variation of this one, which is a little tougher, is available for you on the auction house. It's good for the people looking for the cars that they want to buy. It's good for the person trying to sell the car, and you get kind of the maximum. You might have to pay the maximum value, or not maximum value, but the value of the car to get it, right? But then that also comes back into providing us the information of the value of that car, right? And start to get accurate information for that. So we'll have the rarity, the number of times this car is sold against every car that sells on the auction house, right? That would be the rarity. So in the beginning, there'll be a bunch of probably nines as they're zero until they get one sold, and they're probably going to drop really, really fast as they get to one because all the zero cars that have been sold will be plentiful, right? Will still be there. And then as it starts to balance out, we'll start to really see what cars are truly rare being sold. And this will play a part from the auction house, but also what we'll look at is, I don't know what split it will be, but half the weight will be on the auction side of it, and then half the weight could be on the list of people who say they have that car in their collection. And then that will determine kind of what the rarity is of that particular car, is what we're going for. That way, it's not like my opinion of what it is. I did put some in for some of the stuff I did yesterday, so let's go pull one up where I have information in. What car did I do that for? Let's see here. Let's go put the Corgi keyword in here. Let's see if it jogs my memory. I don't know why. I went through this today, tried to figure out why Corgi comes up with the Lamborghini Countach. I have no idea. Let's see. BMW. All right, so in here, you'll see here I put a rarity of 3, a $20 value for that car. Popularity 0, 1, 2, 3, so that's a 4. I could put some more numbers in there, I guess. Make it a little bit easier. I'd probably put a 5 in there at least. That's midway between 0 and 9. Good lord, this dude. Let me get him. Let me stop that. That's just getting annoying. Can I close that? I think it. All right. Hopefully that won't do that anymore. But I put this stuff in manually. I don't particularly like to do it that way. Just one, because I know eventually it's going to come, and two, if it's not $20 in 5 days, somebody's gonna be like, "Oh, this is crap! Dang, what the heck? I need this to stop." I should have found a way to. That's Discord. I guess I have to log out, huh? Probably the only way. Ooh, look what's new. There we go. Done. Oh, now it's gonna pop up over here. All right. So I don't particularly like to put the information in there because again, it's my opinion, and it may not be popular with somebody else. So, I'll just prefer that it comes from a undisputable kind of a deal. Right? If it starts to become the popularity part, will basically be how many times this is sold. Increasingly over the period of time. I've talked about like how the Hotbird kind of got hot for a little while, pun intended. And so like the Color Racer Hotbird and some of the other rare variations really kind of started to skyrocket. in value, and more were selling repeatedly because of that. People were like, oh, well, I might as well go ahead and jump on that bandwagon, right? That popularity for that particular one at that time would probably be a 9 for popularity, just because it was like the new thing, right? Some of your new Ferraris might be pretty popular in the beginning. Your new treasure hunts that come out might be popular just because there's so many of them selling in a short period of time. Um, and then you'll see it kind of die down to where you don't see it sell as often. But that's what that popularity will be for, purely just from the auction house sales, just to kind of get a an idea of like, is something getting a little high on the popularity? Is this something people are looking for? Just to give a seller an idea of like what he might want to put up. Like if you get on here and you have a car that's pegged at 9, right, for popularity, like an '83 Silverado potentially, then and you have it for sale, or you want to sell it, then now would be the time to put it up there for sale, because obviously it seems like they're selling pretty good, especially if you do some research and find out like the value of the car is more than what you paid for it, and it's a good value to get for the car. Obviously, you throw that up there. And then one thing else I might add on to this is the number of people who want this particular variation. So maybe over here on the left side or something, if you have it in your wanted um, list, right? You went in there and selected wanted after you subscribed, then this would give you a number and say like, this is 50, right? But you go to another car and it's like 200. Well, probably more amped to take the time to put the car that has 200 people wanting it more than the car that 50 people want. So it just kind of gives you an idea. Or if you have something that has like 0, like nobody is wanting it, well, it's not going to alert anybody, right, that car is available for sale. Which I could see happening in the very beginning once it kind of gets going. But I think as it goes, people will start to put in their collection. There'll be a want list for most cars that come out and stuff like that are out now. And so you'll have an idea just from looking at this, like, all right, it's pretty popular. Here's the value for it. Here's how many people want it. They're going to be notified for it. And here's the rarity. Yes, I want to put this car on. Click down here, add car to auction. It adds all the descriptive data so that it can be searched just like it could be on the locator side of it. It has the same filter, maybe a couple different ones that are specifically for auction style stuff, but all the wheel filter, base filter, interior, window, body color, all that kind of stuff, series, the regular name of the car, like all that stuff would be on there. And then maybe we do some like price value, I don't know, some other stuff that you could filter it down. But anyways, you it puts all that information in there so that it's searchable. It sends out notifications to all those people, and that way, you know, I think it maximizes the most beneficial use of the website for the seller and the buyer. Right? You're walking along, you get a little ding, hopefully from the app. Once we get it converted to the app, it'll have all that kind of feature for it, and then you're like, oh yeah, I want to watch, when I want to watch it, right? So obviously we'll have a watch feature, and then put a bid on it, and then the other thing with the auctions to make it fair, also there won't be any sniping. So if it gets down to like the last 5 minutes, I don't want to make it too long because then people will sit there and then they won't bid anymore because we'll expect it to end at 6 a.m. or say 6 p.m. But then it's been bid after bid after bid. So if I make it like 10 minutes, right, to give somebody enough time to like recognize that their bid was outdone in the last 10 minutes of the auction, that it's going to allow 10 minutes, then it 5 bids, 6 bids, right, is now it's ending at 7, right, and then somebody's not going to sit there and watch, or have the time to wait until it actually ends, to put in their bid, for it. So I was thinking like 2 minutes. That gives you enough time. Like if you got your phone on you, most people do, right? Gives you 2 minutes to kind of get in there. I know that depending on where you're at in your cell service, it may take a little bit to get that back up and then be able to put the bid in or decide it. But I think 2 minutes is probably where I'm at. I would say max is going to be five for sure. But it adds that on there. So this car is at $20 and somebody bids 21. Now you've got another 2 or 5 minutes for their if you got outbid to place your bid back in it, and then it'll that way it's one gives you the seller a good value for the car. It also tells us a good value of the car, right? If this was a $20 car, but it sat at $1 all the way up until the last 2 seconds of it, and then three people put bids in, but they would have gone higher because they didn't realize that somebody else was going to try to snipe it too, then the value of it's obviously more, right? So I'm just trying to be fair with that, um, and that way the seller should be happy. Yeah, the buyer is going to have to pay the value of the car, but at least they get the chance. So if they really wanted it, right, they'll have the chance to bid on it until they're no longer interested in it. So that's the benefit of the buyer side. You just won't be able to snipe stuff. So if you get a good deal, right, it's because nobody wanted to pay more for that car than you did at that point. And that's I think the most fair way that I could see it going without or yeah, because I don't like. I mean, I do sniping on eBay, right? Because it's allowed, right? I do the same thing. I wait till the last second and I'll throw a bid in. And sometimes I'm disappointed because I didn't throw a high enough bid in. I might have gone a little higher, but I didn't expect it to go that high. But I would rather know that if there's a car I definitely want to win, that I have a chance to put my bid in and continue thinking, for the next one for at least a couple, a minute or so, if I want to go higher or whatever. But anyhow, that was a lot on the auction house. But I think that will give us the most robust auction platform that's available out there for Hot Wheels specific stuff. Um, the only thing that you won't get notified and it won't get put in there is if somebody puts in an auction that has like five cars that are just kind of grouped together. So somebody wants to sell like five different Hot Birds. That wouldn't be there's no real good way to recognize those cars. We don't have the AI system for Hot Wheels isn't ready yet for that, and I don't have the money for auction house yet, but I won't have the money for AI ability to do that on the auction house when that comes time for a while probably. But down the road, if that's the case and they provide good pictures, it could potentially pick up and say, hey, this is the car that's part of the, this particular MVP number. And then it could alert you that, hey, one of these cars out of the five is one of the cars you're looking for if you want to bid on all five cars. But I think, having everything going up individually is probably the most ideal way of doing it. You could put it up as a loose car, or you could put it up as a packaged car, and that will give us two different values. We'll see what the car, like it'll be really good for the funny car. Finally, the number 271, right, sells at $7,500 in package, sells at 50 cents or $1, right, loose, and people when they come to look at the value and they pull up that car and loose value, here it is, package value, big difference, and they'll be like, no more asking that question. Hopefully, they may ask why still. I'm sure. It seems like that's the biggest thing that comes up with that car for whatever reason. But and but it should help answer some of those questions, and a place for somebody new, right, that collects to come on here and doesn't know a car that has no name on the base like this Smashmobile from that Crack Ups or whatever. um, we'll be able to find that car and then no information about it, and all that kind of stuff. And we can start adding that information, like, how many people own it, right? Instead of having just people that want it, we could be like, well, there's, 3,475 people that own this particular variation. And that kind of gives us a number of, how many are out there. It won't be a 100% correct, because I'm sure some people would use it to say that they have a car that they don't, especially for like insurance purposes or whatever, which is kind of fraud. But for the most for most people who just do the right thing, right, we'll have a good idea on some of these rare cars, right? Like the white red line Nissan, the 300Z, um, or Z-Wiz, right? I would imagine that there's going to be more that pop up in here down the road that say I have this car that don't really have it, right? It would be like out there, it'd be like 215 people have this car, and you're like, bull crap. Keep it at PG, and so it won't be on there. So we'll just have to take that with a grain of salt. But some of those they will kind of know, right? But some cars have 20,000, 30,000, that were made of it. So those would be pretty crazy. But at least in a sense, overall, it's just another tool to kind of figure out what we think is out there, and then as we learn people's usernames as well, right? And they say that they have it. Like I guess I'll be the only one that can see the username in their list, unless they share it with people. But we could, if they do share it, and be like, it says you have this car. Can do you want to verify that? Oh yeah, I don't have that car. Like, like I think it could call some people out on it too, and police ourselves with it. So, but that's the goal with the auction house. Like I said, I want it to be as simple um, as using this filter system that comes up here. On the auction side, it'll be a different color. It'll be blue to show that you're in that system. And this, instead of having all these buttons, it'll be the current price of the car, the the day that it ended, or will end, or how much time is left until it ends. If it's days out, it'll just show like the number of days. If it's 24 hours out, it'll show hours, and if it's less than 1 hour, it'll show minutes. So it'll just kind of convert that way. It'll potentially tell us who the highest or the user is, but I don't know if I want to share that. I don't know if some people want people to know who's bidding on it. I don't know if that would be a deterrent or maybe not. Maybe it'll make people want to bid more. I don't know. But maybe we won't put the highest bidder's username on there. We'll just have the highest bid when it ends. And there was a couple other things. I have to go back and look at my PowerPoint things I put together to show how I wanted it. But and if you're the winner, it'll show like the number in green. If you've been outbid, it'll show the number in red. Just to cues that kind of make it easy for you to look on there and be like, oh crap, I got outbid. I mean, it'll send you a notification, but you'll be able to go on there just and easily see and then know that you need to bid on it or that you're winning, and all that kind of stuff. So it'll have the username of the seller, that's for sure. Maybe we'll have that on there. That way it'll have like a seller rating essentially. And then for security, right, it said you have to be a subscriber, one, to be able to even bid. That seems to be pretty common around most auction sites to be able to have a subscription. And then I, spent my last couple of years at Cybercom dealing in network defense, so I have a pretty good understanding of what security looks like and things that we could do and be implemented automatically. Of course, I'm not going to do it all myself, so that we keep people safe on both sides, the bidder and the seller. And then, if something were to happen, we see somebody, isn't shipping the car, I don't know, like we'll take care of it. I'm sure I'll have some other admins that join down the road, paid of course, and they'll be able to help, diffuse the situation. I think as we, get people on here, you'll start to see some of the, normal people that you've seen around, the conventions and on Facebook and all that kind of stuff, like start to, come together and police it also, to kind of help with, keep it, fair and secure and whatnot. So, but it'll be secure. Well, there's some other things I have in mind that I don't want to discuss because I don't want to put out how we're going to keep it secure, for the fact that I want people trying to figure out a way around all of the things that I have in mind for it ahead of time. So, and then if you get banned, right, we'll probably ban the username for sure, but then there's IP space, there's credit card numbers, there's all kinds of stuff we could ban people using that they've used in the past if they non-payer or whatever the case is. That will help keep everybody good with it. So yeah, so there's that. The giveaway, like I said, that will come up. I don't think anything's in there right now. Yeah. Once we hit 50 subscribers, we'll start doing a monthly giveaway. It will start out as a $50 prize value, and then go up as we get subscribers. So 100 subscribers will be a $100 prize value. Could be anything. Could be multiple cars. Once we get up there, if we get up to, like I said, if we get 10,000 subscribers, we're giving away $10,000 prize value stuff. At some point, we will break it up so that there's more winners, right? If we have 10,000, it's kind of hard to find $10,000 worth of stuff every month, probably that's different. So we may break it up and do, sets or series, or I don't know. We'll figure it out. But maybe once we get past like 1,000, and maybe that will be we'll figure. I don't know. I haven't nailed it down yet, obviously. But say we have 1,000 subscribers, now we go from winning, just having one winner to having, say, two winners, and then we hit 2,500, we go to three winners, and then 5,000, four winners, and stuff like that. So as it goes up incrementally to larger numbers, we'll have more winners, but the full value of everything will equal $1 of the $5 subscription of all the subscribers. So $10,000 or 10,000 subscribers is $10,000 value collectively across the board. So we're waiting on getting our 50 subscribers. So come on over and subscribe. We'll get that going. And the other $4 goes directly into the website. Everything from there, goes into development, goes into getting that stuff ready. The other thing is if you want to buy additional tickets for the giveaway, right? We'll have those available. Those will be separate from the subscription money, and those will go straight towards the development stuff for it. So that we can build that up a little bit more as well. So if there's something really popular or something people, a couple of people really want to win and they want to buy additional tickets, right? It's good for the website. It gives us some more development money, and then them a chance to win, a better chance to win as well. So, but I think that's pretty much everything. Been rambling on here for the last 45 minutes. My dog is telling me he's extremely hungry. He's only fed twice a day, so he's starving right now. Like he probably hasn't been fed in 2 years. So I will end with that. But I hope you guys subscribe here on the website. It'll be up here. It's only $5 a month. I don't have any other way to really do any donation things. If you wanted to help with the donations for development. So really the biggest thing is let's get some subscribers on here. Let's get that 50 subscribers going. We'll open up the giveaway, and then if you wanted to really donate, you could buy additional tickets, and that gives you a chance to win the giveaway, of course, but also donate to the development part of the stage of this. So, but appreciate everybody. Hope this helps. Hope you have enjoyed watching the video. Hit the subscribe button here on the YouTube channel. Hit the like button. Let's get the word out. Let's start making this our one-stop shop for Hot Wheels stuff, the best place to go, and information and everything together. And I will see you guys in the next one. All right. Bye.